What is good, everybody? Welcome to the Be Influential podcast, where we dare you to be different. Here, we give a voice to the rule breakers, change makers, and risk takers of today and help you be influential too. You already know it is Freaky Friday. It is April 9th, and we are live here at the Downtime TV studios here in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And I'm your host, Angie Legg, your personal brand bestie. I help ambitious women become confident content queens. Y'all can find me at I am Angie Legg everywhere. And beside me is the fabulous Clubhouse queen, Miss Sharontel Durscale. Girl, tell them about yourself.
That is so funny that you Clubhouse queen, because that means I'm on there all night long.
Literally.
Oh yes, I am.
Problem.
Yes, I'm so excited. I am Sharontel Durscale. I am a celebrity publicist, motivational speaker, and recently #1 international best-selling author.
Okay.
Yes.
Listen.
Yes. Let the world know.
I got a lot of catching up to do. I got some work I got to put in. Well, today, you guys, I'm super excited because it is all about podcasting 101. We are going to be breaking down what it takes to start one, the realities of it. But actually, first, before we get too into it, I haven't told Sharontel this, but I want to start a small little new segment. I think part of being influential is always being quick on your feet. And I think that has a lot to do with our vocabulary.
Yes.
So as a speaker, I learned to tap into new words. We were always challenged to use new words. So we're going to have a word of the week. And so the word of the week is impervious. Do you know what impervious means?
No, but it sounds very mischievous.
Right? So I was in the tile industry, and impervious basically in the tile industry meant that nothing could penetrate it. Like no liquid could penetrate stone or whatever. So for me, impervious is being untouchable, is having, mind strength. Like we are impervious to negativity. So our challenge today is to use that word throughout the show.
Impervious.
And you guys go ahead in the comments, try and use the word impervious while you're out here with us, listening to us. But that's going to build up our
vocabulary.
Juju. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like it's going to make us so much better. When was the last time you used the word impervious? So I'm super excited about that. Super excited about today's episode. It is episode 8.
Wow.
8. Girl, like time flies. That's 2 months,
Yeah, time flies.
And let me tell you, every single time it's a new adventure. It's something new. It's something different. So I love that. So let's get into it. What is a podcast? Because everybody has a podcast, and we see them on YouTube. We see podcasts on YouTube. We see podcasts on IG. So what is a podcast? How would you define that?
In my definition, when I first heard about it, it gives a creative an opportunity to have their audience, and they can speak to their audience. That's how I looked at it.
Right?
Yeah.
And
you're not filling out, you're not trying to get through the gate. It's just, you can create.
Just conversation. There's so many different kinds. And, essentially it just started out as audio. That's what a podcast was. It was just an opportunity to have a conversation or a show of some sort via audio. And I think that's why Clubhouse is so hot, because it's just
audio.
It's all audio, and so it's just a hot place to be. So, a podcast has taken on so many different forms now because we can add video to it. But essentially all a podcast is a radio show, is an audio show. And that gives you so much room to do so many things, to be really, really innovative. So some of the things that are really, really important about podcasting, because a lot of people, do you think it's too late? Do you think it's too late to get into the game?
No.
Right?
I always feel like even if there's 1 million people doing what I do, they still not going to do it like me, because I'm me.
Okay, let me get that for you, girl. Let me brush that out.
We're all unique, and we all have something to give. So no, there's a lot of publicists, but does that make me say that I don't want to be a publicist because there are a lot of publicists? No, I go and create and connect with the people that I need to connect with.
I 100% agree.
Dare to be different.
Dare to be different. And that's all, that's what it's all about. And so I absolutely, completely agree. It's not too late to start podcasting. And what's so powerful about podcasting is that, yes, you don't have to be on video. So if you want to just do audio, you're not comfortable in front of video, you're kind of set. But more importantly, some of the statistics around podcasting for 2021 are staggering. So some of the first ones, 41% of podcast listeners make over 75K. You know what I mean? What that's a nice niche. That's a nice market to speak to.
To speak.
75K. Like,
go ahead.
You know, I was balling on 75K just because it's good money. If you're an income household and there's a lot of millennials that don't have kids.
Oh, they're doing these early.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And making 75K.
That's why I think podcasts are dope, because you can create.
And that also means that these successful people, I mean, I think if you're making, 75 and above, 80 to that's successful. That could be absolutely successful for so many people. So that is a great niche. Those are people with money. Those are LinkedIn guys, right?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. The average salary on LinkedIn is $75,000. So podcast, LinkedIn, but that's an incredible stat for.
I love it
for podcasting.
I love it.
What's your favorite genre of podcasting?
Oh man. Oh, well, I'm definitely gonna say comedy for sure, because I have to laugh every day. It's absolutely necessary, but I love things that are just informative and not just one niche of a thing. I love, different conversations, broad conversations.
And that is what makes podcasting, so unique and 100%. Comedy, there are so many categories, but comedy actually reigns supreme, which is testimony to we have TikTok, we have Reels that are on the more entertaining side, right?
So entertaining.
And that's what comedy is, right? We have to start incorporating that entertainment aspect of it because it's important. So if comedy is the number one genre of podcasting, make it entertaining.
Yes.
And
that's
that goes right. And that goes to your point of being different.
Yeah.
Find your own little niche of happiness.
That's what this show is all about. Dare to be different.
That's it. The next most popular genre is education, which makes complete sense.
Of course.
Providing value. We provide value here, right?
Yes.
All the time, every week, it pays off. We have listeners every single week, and views are going up every single week. So people they want to know what is up and coming, and they want to self-educate. And the last is the news. That is the third most popular podcast topic. Yeah. Like NPR and gossip.
That would be my last.
Okay.
On my list. If I had to make a list.
Yeah.
News would be absolutely last. Because one thing I know about news is that I don't want to start my day with it. Right? For some reasons. Good. And also, bad news always travel. You don't even have to go looking for it. So I want to laugh. I want to be informed. I want to, feed my brain with good education. And then, I want to check in and see what's going on in the world in the news. So that's great how you broke it down.
But I look at, it took me a long time to get to where I am with my podcast, and we'll talk more about that. But after doing the research, after realizing those are the top three, I feel like this podcast is doing that. We have a little bit of entertainment. We have a little bit of news. We have a little bit of value. We have a lot of value.
A lot of comedy, because you're funny.
Girl, remember when you came in looking like Sasquatch? What? That was hilarious. I was rewatching that episode. You were high as a kite. You were tall. I was mad.
I was so high. I was mad. I'm like, have you ever tried to take a picture with someone who's tall and everyone is like literally putting everyone together? Like, no, you stand right here and you come over here. I didn't get a chance to do that. It was just awkward.
It was just like, you,
it was so awkward.
I loved it. I loved it. It was so good.
So I'm sure they get a bit of all of that. Yep.
You know what I mean? So guys, I'm hoping this takes off, right? This is got to work.
No, it will.
This has got to work.
There's no hope. There's no try. Like, it will. I only go by will. That's it.
Amen. Amen to that.
Amen.
So you guys are listening in. Let me ask you, what podcasts are y'all listening to? What are you listening to?
I am listening to. I'm so happy that you asked me that, because I love this man, his whole being. I think I follow all his team and stalk him because I love him so much. Joe Rogan.
Tell the audience.
Joe Rogan. And then you got to add the experience, because every conversation is definitely an experience.
It's insane.
He's my motivation.
And
he's my motivation. Joe Rogan.
He's the Oprah of podcasting, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's the male Oprah. That's what all the guys say, right, Mike? Is he the male Oprah?
Him and The Rock.
Okay, The Rock. The Rock needs a podcast.
The male Oprah.
Not Oprah, but our Beyonce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Rock and Joe Rogan.
I've heard a lot of guys call him the male Oprah, because they just
Beyonce
they provide him so much information. Yeah. So Joe
Rogan, let's talk about him.
Is a baddie.
Yes,
you know what I mean? And he is the influencer of influencers when it comes to podcasting.
I like the way he thinks.
But you know what? He's so diverse. Do you know what he does? Like, do you know anything much about Joe and like his past?
The comedy.
He was a professional comedian.
He is a mixed
Still goes on tour
artist. Yeah. Like, I love the way he thinks.
He's funny.
I love the way he thinks.
Mixed martial art.
Yeah. Yes, because anybody that's in martial arts, that mindset is just bananas. Like, I don't even think bananas is even a crazy enough word when you think about martial artists. I had a martial artist guy on my show yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
They're hardcore.
Amazing. Yeah, the Drew from Public Enemy was on the show yesterday, and he has a background of being a martial artist. But back to Joe Rogan, that's that guy, and he's an actor.
Yep.
Okay.
What Renee? What were you saying? What was he in? Fear Factor.
Yes.
Actor.
Yes,
TV
I love that
host.
show.
I always forget he was the guy for Fear Factor. Like, how do you and that just shows how powerful a personal brand is. Like, so many people are trying to put themselves into a box. Mm-hmm. And Joe Rogan is out here doing whatever the hell he wants and getting paid for it.
Right, exactly.
He wants to host Fear. Like, what does Fear Factor have to do with comedy? You know what I mean? They're two different genres.
Facing.
Like, I love that he's just out here doing what he wants. And then at the end of all of this, at the end of all of these different jobs and achievements, he becomes a podcast host, which he didn't even know what he was doing. Like,
do we ever, though, in the beginning of anything that we do?
You start with a microphone and your laptop. And
I didn't know what a publicist did. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it entailed. I just was told that that's what I was going to be. Right. For this person, my client. He said, you're my PR. And I was like, what is that? And then I just learned along the way. And even with motivational speaking, I said, forget it. I am not waiting on someone to book me. I'm going to just book myself. So I started doing my own events and just learning along the way. I didn't know how to do that. Did you know how to do it? All those amazing things you do? Branding, consulting.
The fact that you said that it's so funny, because I've gone to this church for a long time. It's a spiritual church. Mm-hmm. And when I first going, they encouraged me to step on stage and host sermons and things like that. And I was an okay speaker, but I would definitely freeze up. And just this morning, literally right before you sat in this chair, the pastor reached out to me and she goes, would you like to come back and give a sermon? And this is full circle. Like, I am definitely, at the space where I'll be able to just kill it. You know what I mean?
It happens that way.
But in the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing. You know what I mean?
No,
I just
you just
did
go and you just do it. I didn't know what to do when I got on TV. I was like, I'm not going to be able to read that teleprompter. I'm not going to be able to read the scripts because my memory is shut. I cannot do scripts. And then when I did my last commercial, I did it in the first take and it scared me because she was like, that's it, Chantel, we got it. And I'm like, what? Because usually I'm doing like 20, 25, 30 takes. Like, what did I say? What was I supposed to say? Oh no, go back. And I got to do it over and over and over. But because of that, going through the process and trusting the process, you just develop and you get better. You
just get better. That's
with
it.
Consistency.
And that is exactly how I feel about even the show. I think a lot of people take too much time to try and like craft it.
Yeah.
Rather than just going in, doing it, and then fixing what doesn't work, because you don't know what doesn't work until you just go out and do it.
You don't.
And
your audience, they love that too because they feel that they get to grow
with you and evolve with you.
Yes, they love that part. They're like, I remember when you had the background and my books was to the side. Like, what kind of bookshelf is that? It was the background. And then I got these stars and people love it. And they're like, I like the new layout. That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. Because remember, you didn't like the other background. Where were we?
Were we at the beach?
We were at home.
New York City, I think it was.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm like at home, the beach, New York
City.
Yes.
Times
Square.
Square.
In like a mansion.
Yeah.
We were in a couple places.
So you got to travel a few places and you figured out which place you wanted to make home.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You guys also have to weigh in on my background. I like it. I don't love it. I'm not mad at it, but I haven't decided on it. So definitely weigh in on what you guys think. Should I go lighter, like white so that we pop against it? Or do you like this kind of moody basement brick? So I just look too bougie for this roughness, So definitely weigh in on that. You guys grow with me, evolve with us. It is what it is. It is what it is. Joe started
basement.
This is what I think a basement.
But a lot of shows started in the basement.
This is what Joe Rogan's show looks like.
Come on, Joe.
You know what I mean?
Do your thing.
But he started in his basement in 2009, December 26th, 2009.
Wow.
Like, we didn't even know. That's when podcasts started. Like, he didn't even know what he was doing. Isn't that so powerful?
That's so powerful.
And so then last year, did you hear the deal that he cut with Spotify?
Oh no, tell me all about it.
So we all know. Do you use Spotify?
Yes.
Do you use iTunes?
Yes, I have that too.
Do you watch podcasts on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this is where it gets like super controversial because Joe Rogan is on what channel?
Ooh.
We know him to be on.
I've known him to be on YouTube.
Right?
Yes.
And so he's been hosting his podcast on YouTube. He gets like 130 million downloads a day. Okay, that is ridiculous. And so in 2020, during the pandemic, Spotify starts getting into podcasts, which is obviously, when was that going to happen? They approach Joe Rogan and say, we're going to give you $100 million to come to Spotify, host your show. But the catch is you cannot be on iTunes and you cannot be on YouTube. You cannot be on any other channel, but you have full rights to do and talk about whatever it is that you want before $100 million. Is $100 million a lot?
Depends on your perception of what's a lot.
Would you take it?
We have to like make sure we're looking at the terms and agreements because you want
130 million
I don't-
downloads a day.
Mhm.
$100 million. I don't know how long the contract is, but
Right.
it literally doesn't matter. It is a multi-year, so it's not also forever,
Right.
which means he'll have time to negotiate or whatever. But $100 million.
No, that's not.
I mean,
I'm not. No, it's not. I'm not saying that it's not.
You become the highest paid. He became the highest paid podcaster right then and there, right at that moment. Now, why this was so genius for Spotify?
Yes.
Okay, so 100 mil sounds like a lot of money. They're a multi-billion-dollar company, right? So in 2020, they were worth like $30 billion. In 48 hours after announcing that Joe Rogan is exclusively coming to Spotify, their stock rose to $35 billion to a 48 hours.
Yeah.
They earned $5 billion by paying Joe a measly $100 million. I would be so mad if I was like, oh,
and that's
I
why
did not get enough.
It just means like the terms of the agreement. Are you okay with that? Because you also have to think, even when you get a big lump sum of whatever that amount is that going to be sufficient for overtime of what you could have made? So it's like terms and agreement. You gotta check that out. Like we gotta really look through this. And if that's okay with you, then that's okay. But if not, then you renegotiate.
So, but what does that say for influencers? Like Joe just proved that he's worth $5 billion.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? To companies, to sponsors,
sponsors love a great influence.
Right?
Yeah.
And
for sure.
Where people are like, how do I monetize? And we're going to get to that too, but how do I monetize?
But that's usually people's first question.
I know.
And that, don't you
It's not, and it shouldn't be.
It should not be.
It shouldn't be. You know what? Let's get right into it.
Let's get into it.
Because, Joe is absolutely amazing. You guys, the statistics on Joe are remarkable. He has over 1,800 episodes of podcasts, and he's just killing the game. So there's a lot of other really incredible podcasters out there as well, but he reigns supreme. So definitely tap in. And his format is random. His 2-hour episodes, hour episodes, whatever it is. So he's a great mentor. But
he is.
Like you said, a lot of people ask how to make money. But the first question that you need to ask when you start a podcast is why. What's your why? Why do you even want to start a podcast? You have a podcast?
Yeah. Oh, I love.
I know. I tap in all the time.
I love
Tell
this.
him.
I love this too, but I definitely love what I do because I get to have a conversation with all different kinds of people that do different things, but they're creative in whatever their niche is. They're creative in it. And my why was that all of my events were canceled. And what my events are is that I go and I teach people how to live beyond fear. I do these little intimate groups at different hotels in different locations. I just pick them and then I bring on speakers. June Archer was one of my speakers a couple years ago.
We love June Archer. He was on episode 2. Go check him out.
I do that and then I just go, And now that I could not do that virtually, I decided to start a live Instagram conversation.
And,
that's what I call them.
And what's the name of the show?
Choose Your Path.
Choose Your Path. That is so empowering.
Yeah, choose your path. And that's my why. I want people to know that no matter what is going on in the world, that you can literally do whatever it is that you want to do. You have the ability to choose your path. Whether that's right or wrong, it depends on their perception. So when we talk about defining the why, that's so important because don't you need to know why you get on this microphone every single time?
You have to, because it's so much work. And when you don't, sometimes I'm waking up at 5 a.m. to finish the script or whatever the situation is, there's so much time, effort,
So much.
Your free time.
Yes.
It's your free time to be adding another platform like this too.
Ugh.
So define your why, and then once you understand your why, for me, my value system has always been to inspire and empower and entertain. So I really wanted to bring that to my podcast, and it took me a very, very long time. It took me 3 years to really understand what I wanted to bring to the table, but it was because I was never looking for my why. I was never figuring that out. And as soon as I did, everything laid out
It
for
all
me.
makes sense.
It all makes sense. And then once you can figure out your audience, do you know your audience? Like, who's your audience?
That's very interesting. I
It's
believe that
diverse,
right now it's so diverse.
But if
I had to narrow it down, it would definitely be people interested in personal development and music.
Okay, music specifically, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, you have a lot of artists, music
yes,
artists.
a lot of music artists, a lot of music producers. I absolutely love music producers. They create the sound and how we feel. If they really affect how we feel by listening to what they produce. So,
and you don't like stray too much from that. You know what I mean? You're not going to have a doctor necessarily on your show because you are creating content. You did. But that being said, because you have a diverse show, but that being said, it's not like that is your main focus.
Oh yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you do stay on a narrow path.
Yeah. No, I want it to be open to everyone. Like soon I'm going to be bringing on a magician. I want to talk to the plumber. I want to talk to anyone who has decided that this is what I want to do. Okay. This is how I'm giving back. So I want to just open it up to talk to everyone. I've talked to authors. I've talked to people who are trying to figure it out too. I think that's a pretty dope process. I think when you're at the bottom and you're just don't know where you're going and you don't know what it is that you want to do, that is the best place to be because that's where all the creativity lies.
Down at the bottom. I love being hard and out because there's no place but up.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so, your particular podcast is cool because it's interview style. There's a lot of different podcast styles. So I want to take a moment to talk about it because I see interview style a lot. And I started out with that and it was okay. I don't mind it, but I wasn't getting my message across with the interview style. So how did you go ahead and choose the interview style? Did you start out that way or did you start out?
I did the interview style because me and my grandmother would have conversations in the morning. This was inspired by my grandmother. We would have conversations in the morning. And I realized as I got older, those conversations that we had literally changed my entire being. So now I just decided like, hey, I love talking to people. I love getting that dialect. I love learning from the other person of how they pursuing the world and how they're going through their journey. And so I decided to do conversation.
And that's where it all starts, is having a conversation. And so that interview style is fantastic. So for those who, might be more introverted, like who do you think a good interview style? I mean, it's for everybody. If you're introverted, it's great because you're allowing your guest to talk a lot.
Yes.
So you don't necessarily have to do a whole lot of talking. You just have to get the right questions.
Get the right questions though.
Which is hard.
Yeah. And then I thought too, I want people to, to be creative during this time. A lot of businesses fail. People lost a lot of jobs and they don't really know what they should be doing. And I'm hoping that when I have these conversations with other creatives, they hear something in that conversation that inspires them to go out and create something amazing.
Well, 100%, because when you collaborate, there's just nothing like it. And then when you can provide a platform for somebody who has a story, I mean, that's what podcasting is. It's just like a series of all these different stories that we're telling. It's just so powerful. So if you're an introvert, it's great, but you have to do your research, which is pretty difficult.
It's lots of research. Yesterday, for my guest, the Drew from the Rock and Roll
Public
Hall
Enemy.
of Fame group, Public Enemy, was on, and I had to do my research. I have to do my research with everyone, though. You got to know who it is that you're speaking to. But then sometimes I don't like to go too deep with my research because I want to genuinely get to know who this person is that I'm talking to, and I can get that through my conversation. But I think it's important for any of us that want to get into podcasts to realize what style works for us and go what feels good. Because if you don't, then you're going to sacrifice the people of what they needed to get from you, because everybody is not conversation and everyone is not solo and everyone. It's just, you need to be who you are. Dare to be different.
Have you ever had a guest who was not a good guest?
Oh, yeah.
That's so difficult.
That is the most difficult thing, because for me, I'm there physically, but I've already walked out of the building. I talk about this on the show sometimes all the time. I'm like, if we don't connect, if this person I feel is not being genuine for the people and it's about something else, we all have products, but we need to be bringing value to the people, and then they'll buy it because they buy you, they buy your story, they buy you. Yeah, I left the building, but I was still smiling. And so you would never be able to go back and look and notice, like, that's the one. That's him. Because I still got a job to do. We're on. And that's the thing about live, too.
Live, and we are going to get to that too, because there's no messing up in live. Live is live. So you have, there's the interview style, there's the solo style, which is cool. You know what I mean? For comedians, actors.
Oh, yes. For that genre, yeah.
Gamers do a lot of solo.
Yes,
podcasts.
They do. Yeah, because they're playing the game, and they're the only ones that really can go in. Well, you need to make a left and go with this guy and then turn in here. Yeah, they need to talk about it.
You don't have to do, you don't have to worry about anybody. So it's all on you. But that means, shorter show, maybe a 30-minute show instead of an hour show when you don't have somebody, next to you. So you have the solo, you can do the solo, which is totally cool. A lot of people do that. And then the one that we have is the conversational co-host format.
Which is so cool.
Which is so much fun because you still get the conversation, you still get this, interview style. But the most important part about having a show where you have a conversation outside of an actual interview is the vibe.
The vibe. You can't get that.
You can't mess it up.
Yeah.
And when I started the podcast, I knew I wanted to have a co-host. And when I started, I was just like, hey, Mike, let's do an audition. Let's get a couple people in. Let's see. Because I wasn't willing to settle on anybody. You have to have a presence. You also have to have chemistry, like just a natural chemistry. Yeah. And I was really, really hoping for that. And then you guys have, check out the other episodes. Our story on how we met is so funny. We met through our sponsor, 10K Cards, who is live. But we met, and divinely, we live 5 minutes away from each other. And I was saying, she saw that I was posting, looking for a co-host. Yeah. She's just like, hey, let's see what happens. Because we had such great chemistry, just chatting. And I was like, yeah, let's see what happens. And first episode was bomb.
The first episode is life-changing.
We'd never done anything together.
No. The first one was absolutely life-changing for me. I was like, yeah, we got it.
We got it. And, from that point on, and that just shows, trust your gut. When you guys are putting together your podcast, if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. I promise you, this was not something like we have now been doing probably like 4 or 5 episodes.
Yes.
And and Sharon tells great. Her resume is ridiculous. There was no reason for me to not want her, but yeah, the chemistry
is everything.
Was so right. And I had to make sure that was the number one thing that came across. Yes. And you guys, let us know, how's our chemistry? Do you like us together? Are we bad? You know what I mean? right? And when you find it,
Yeah.
don't leave me, girl.
Yeah. That's what relationships are though, right?
Yes.
If you don't vibe with that partner, then it's not going to work. In business as well. Like you have to be able to vibe together. And I think that's the first thing that we said before we even did the episode. Like we're going to make sure like that we vibe. We cool.
So we got margaritas.
Right. We cool at
We
lunch
vibed
and all
quickly.
of that. But let's see what we do when lights, camera, and action. And it's just still the same thing. It's just
So when you're hooking up with people and there's a lot of people who go into podcasts, as a pair, and before you launch, but try out a couple episodes before you even announce it, or just go live, for 30 minutes before it's official, so that you can practice, so you can just see the jive.
Yes.
It's literally the most important. Then a couple of the other ways is a panel. On LinkedIn, I have shout out to Cameron, who is a networking friend of mine. He's a powerful LinkedIn buddy, and he hosts these networking groups and online podcasts, and he does panels. He'll do 4 or 5 people at a time, which is so brilliant, and you get so much value. And
yes.
Right? Have you been on one of those panels?
I can't wait. I mean, I've definitely been on a few panels, but I can't wait to do that on the Instagram Live, because you can bring on 3 people.
You can have 4 people on Instagram Live.
So I want to do that soon.
ASAP. Because you get so many opinions. There's so much great feedback.
Yes.
And when one person is slacking, the other one's picking up. So it's always, the panels are such a great concept and such a great way to start a podcast. Now that we practice virtual Zooming, it's easier than ever. You get better guests a lot of times now that you can go virtual, because you can bang them out and people don't have to travel and waste their time. So the panel is super hot. And then storytelling, like true crime. Have you ever seen the true crime podcast?
No.
My girls are addicted to the murder mysteries.
No.
I'm like, my girl Kristen,
I'm so creeped out by that. So no.
It is creepy.
No.
All of a sudden, all I hear is, and then her skin began to peel. I'm like, chick, what are you listening to?
Have you ever read any of James Patterson's books?
No.
It literally.
No thanks.
Yeah, I used to. I don't do it anymore. I've gotten so creeped out now since I've gotten older. I don't know.
I just don't like the vibe of horror. I don't like that
at all.
Yes, I don't like the negativity, but people
love it though.
The true crime, it's
okay.
It's hot. So storytelling, people will do a series. So, how to catch. Something was like How to Catch a Killer or something like that, where they would have a series. It would only go for 4 months. They would drop a new episode every week for 4 months, and then they would have, the season was over, and then they would start a new season. It would be a new story. I love that.
Yeah,
as somebody as an entertainer, to tell a story and make it a season, I think that's so cool. So that is I think that's such an innovative way. If you're trying to be different, I don't think enough people are actually storytelling. There's so many
storytelling to take you far.
Will take you far. Michelle Staffa, who's listening, shout out. She loves horror. She loves Halloween. She's a good friend of mine. She loves Halloween. She literally puts the scariest crap in her house for Halloween. And she's super, she's one of those murder mystery people. It brings people joy.
Oh,
it brings
people I have a couple of friends that go up to Salem for yes.
No thanks.
I
don't like being here. No, thank you.
Yeah. Wow.
But that's
okay, Michelle.
But what a niche. You know what I mean?
That's great.
It's such a great spot. So we talked a little bit about your podcast, but how did you name your podcast?
It literally just came in my head. Everything starts here. And it was just there. And you're like, yep, that's it. Anytime you make a title for anything, it's just like, a light bulb goes off and you pick it and you say, yep, that's the one.
That is the one. See, and I think a lot of people,
don't think too much into it.
I thought way too much into it. A couple of years ago, I went through podcast names after podcast names. I went to, have you ever used Fiverr?
Yes, I love it.
Yes, Fiverr, Fiverr.com.
I always thought it was Fiverr.
Place. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I did.
Fiverr. What is Fiverr, right? No, Fiverr, because they started out as $5 gigs. You can take the comment off. Mm-hmm. They started out as $5 gigs. Mm-hmm. And so that's why it was Fiverr. And so it's a website, guys, that you can go. There's a ton of entrepreneurs that offer their services for all different prices. And you can do everything from law to writing a business plan to picking out business names. Yeah. So I hired a bunch of people trying to figure out podcast names, and you can do it so that they'll look for trademarks, make sure nobody else has trademarked it, to make sure nobody else has that podcast name, all of these things for you. Or they'll just come out and think of random names, and you can go ahead and do what you want, because essentially, you want a different podcast name, but you also, there are podcasts that have the same name. It is not illegal to have another Joe Rogan Experience. He probably owns that by now, but sure. I don't think it is actually illegal. So so you came out with it. You were like, this is what I'm going to name my show.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, boom. Anything with the titles, like even the book that I'm getting ready to release. I just completed an ebook, and it's going to be centered around living beyond fear. And it's like, fear for what? That sounds like a great title.
Yeah. Done. I'm over here in market research.
Don't think too much into it. But that's a PR thing too, because you think like you gotta hurry up and think about these headlines and these titles. So that's probably why too. Yeah. And
then on the the other side of that, the neurotic side of that, me, where I'm hiring people and whatnot. I landed with Be Influential because I actually wanted to own the keyword. I want to be,
that word feels good.
Right, exactly. And so I did, as a personal brand strategist and influencer, I want to own those keywords. And influential, how to be influential is a popular phrase that is Googled.
What's the word again? I haven't used it.
I haven't. Impervious. Because, I'm impervious to other people's ideas about my podcast name, because I did it through strategy. I wanted to own influential. And, that is how I'm basing myself, so that anytime Be Influential this, there's just not a lot of people using that keyword, but it is being searched. So, strategically, that's how I aligned it with my business. So you can do it where you just follow your heart and your gut and go with your intuition, like Sharon Tell, or you can be a little bit more strategic and, figure out who has it, who doesn't. There's a few websites that I want to give you guys. One of them is Namecheck, which is name, and then chk.com. Namecheck.com is great. Have you ever heard of that?
No, but I think it's important anytime that you're starting anything, whatever that may be, you definitely want to do that. Absolutely. So I think that's important to check that link for sure.
Namecheck.com allows you to check literally every social platform, from iTunes to Spotify to Facebook, IG, and it allows you to figure out if that name is taken. So do your research, type that in, try to be as different as possible. And one of the other tools that I use is Shopify business name generator.
I love Shopify.
Life hack. Have you ever used their business name generator? No, because you just think of stuff off the top of your dome.
No, I just think of it on top of my dome. But
well, for those people who aren't as creative, the Shopify business name generator is free, and it gives you so many ideas. You just go in there and
It sounds fun though.
Yeah.
This whole strategy thing, like anytime that like
this whole making sense out of it.
Yes, that I would definitely do that. I do that for the book.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You even have something, there's even groups like marketing groups online that when you present the name, they give their feedback, which is really cool too. You want to get that constructive criticism. So all of these steps are definitely relevant. I would say do it that way.
Because you don't know. And there's so many, I think one of the funniest things is because of different languages, there are some words that are offensive in our language that are offensive in other people's languages.
Yes,
so when you have,
too.
and now because podcasting is international, anybody can tap in from any part of the world. So, I mean, these are things that everybody has to think of when you're creating your title. It is important. It is important. Don't spend the rest of your life trying to figure it out, but do the research. Ask people, put it out there. Hey, what do you guys think of this, and this?
Do that.
Ask people.
Do that.
Whatever. You didn't ask nobody. You didn't ask nobody. Sure, I tell Rose her own boat.
I'm on there. I'm out there I'm kayaking actually. I am really alone. Only the one person kayak, the solo, the single. I'm out there alone and I'm like, yep.
Oh my
that
God.
Feels good. I'm gonna do it. I just know I'm at a part in my life where I just do what feels good. It's the mood.
It's the mood.
It's the mood. And it's a whole mood right here. I think someone says bright colors. I think that'd be cool. What you think?
I think that would be cool. I'm nervous about if it's too distracting.
It could be.
To the,
I'll be paying attention to
the
color.
Comedy, I think bright colors would work. But I think because the format of the show is so many things, that a neutral background, just so people can stay focused.
That's true.
I don't know, but that's color. I know.
Colors.
We should
colors.
just try it.
Yeah.
We're just gonna start trying stuff. You guys are gonna have to weigh in on what you think. So the name is important. What about the cover art?
You do a poll. The cover art.
Is it important?
That's super important.
Is it?
That's everything.
Oh,
yeah. You know what it is? It's like a moving
billboard.
Yeah, literally a moving one. Because I realized when I've changed my cover reels on my page, people are loving that. So that draws them in too, because they're like, oh my goodness, who's this guy? Let me check him out and see what they're talking about. So yeah, that's everything.
I don't give a damn about cover art. I don't know anybody's cover. I don't look. Joe Rogan has his, mug as his face, as his logo. Like, I just don't think we have to think
cool, though.
That
oh no, you don't
gotta
think too much into it, but it is an important piece. Like, no, I don't think too much into any of it. So but the art is important.
People are gonna be led down your path, your chosen path of just doing it on the fly. Completely, but I'm with that. I am spontaneous, so I feel you, girl. Canva is a great place to design your cover art. I literally have designed everything because I don't have a team. I don't have the time. I don't have the extra dough to be doing that. So Canva does it for me. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's cool. I have a cool guy to do mine because I just can't. I did it in the beginning, and you can tell.
Yeah, you can tell that I'm doing it. You
no,
can tell I'm doing it.
Talking about me, but I like yours. Yours is like yours. You already went past what I thought that I was. Like you went way past. Yours is really dope. Mine's like crazy. Like the lines, they're like not even lined up right. The picture, you can't really see it. The fonts are all different. It looked a mess. I had to hire somebody. Some things I do on my own, but some things you just gotta hire somebody.
Canva is who you need to hire. Canva literally
Canva
is great. And Michelle is saying that Ripple is great for creative, graphic, social media.
I agree with you, Michelle. I was using Ripple too for a while, and then I said, wow, it's like paying for the gym and never going.
Right.
Because I did get to a point where I'm just paying for the subscription, but I'm not actually creating anything. So I kind of closed it. But Ripple is really nice. I like Ripple for the fact that
I haven't used it.
it's animated.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like,
cool.
oh, like when I'm selling my merchandise, I can put 50% off sale and it just have the moving slide and all of that. So I like that. But does Canva have that too?
Canva has that.
So
what I'm
that's
saying,
why
like,
Ripple, I don't need it. Sorry.
Canva literally has all
They're not
that.
gonna
But
sponsor me.
I'm gonna we're still looking. I'm gonna look into Ripple, RIPL, right?
Yeah, no, check it
I'm
out.
gonna
It's
get
really
into it.
nice.
I
It
have
really
to,
is.
because you have to, because
No, you gotta have
Canva
some
only
difference.
offers again so much, and at some point you kind of start to use up a lot of the content.
You
There's
do.
a lot of images, there's a lot of things on there, but you start getting bored of it,
And I started seeing that other people's posts look like mine.
oh my god,
That
that's
does
the thing
something
with
to me.
Canva.
That's like come to a party and someone's wearing the
Wearing
same
your
dress. That happened to
dress
me last
shoes.
year. We had the same dress, and you could tell like the mood in the room. People were looking like, look at them, they got the same dress on.
It ain't right.
It's not
That happened at
right.
prom for me.
So
And
you
it
do
was a
gotta try
junior.
different
I was a
ones.
senior.
Michelle, yes, you got to try
You know,
different ones.
You gotta try it. Gotta try different ones.
And
So
you can
Ripple's
reschedule
good.
your posts too. That's true.
That's the paid version. There's a free version and a
I
paid
did the
version
paid
of
one.
Canva.
Oh,
I do the
Canva? Okay.
of Ripple.
Ripple is like that too.
Everybody.
You
But I'm gonna
wanna-
tell y'all,
You want to pay?
it is better to organically post on all your platforms if you can. Like
Yes.
streaming to all of these different platforms right now actually is hurting me. Isn't that stupid?
Yeah.
The algorithm knows.
No, it
The
knows.
algorithm knows, y'all.
That's true.
All right. So,
Okay, so
cover art is important. Equipment starting out. Let's quickly touch on that because on Saturday, I got a text message from somebody who was starting a podcast. He sent me a picture of this bootleg camera for $180. It looked like one of those TV news cameras, like those big ones, but it wasn't, you know what I mean? And it said it would do 4K and but it was $180. And he's just like, hey, what do you think about this for starting my podcast? I'm like, this is a loaded question. I'm like, I know nothing about this product.
Yeah.
There are so many, first of all, your phone, how much, that's it. Chantel, you got a brand new, right? Show the audience your brand new bougie phone. What is this? What Apple?
So,
what Apple?
This
what?
is like the 12 Pro Max.
12 Pro Max, extra big, double size. Like,
because you know why? Because I'm solo dolo out here, and I need my pictures to start looking better. I need to make sure that my video is better. Even if I'm on the train somewhere, I want my face. You be able to see my face while I go live and say, "Hey guys," you know, like I want that. So this is an investment into my business.
It's an investment. It is close to a $1,500 investment. And so for an item that is $1,500 that you're carrying around in your hand,
yes,
and then for anybody to then go on Amazon and buy something that is $80, $200, $400, you know what I mean? Your phones, I am telling you, your phones and your tablets are really good quality. I can do high definition high definition. I can do ultra definition. There's an ultra definition on my cell phone. And I'm launching a weekly vlog and I'm using my cell phone.
That's important.
I have a $2,000 Sony camera that I don't use. I want to cry.
You need to start using it.
Because my phone does fine.
Does everything now. I know. Remember, there were days though that we would look for the camera, but now we just do it from the phone. People do entire videos from their iPhone.
Entire video, YouTube,
music videos.
Guys, music videos. And this is what I'm saying. So when you're starting out, you do not have to get crazy if you don't have the capacity.
Right. Start wherever you can and then grow. It's okay.
It's literally okay. We go live. Chantel is a celebrity publicist who goes live from her cell phone and interviews celebrities from her cell phone.
You can do it from your phone. You can create. This is a money maker.
invest in a good phone. That's what I'm going to
I'm
tell
telling
y'all
you, it's a
when it
moneymaker.
comes to equipment, and get, so you use your earphones, you plug in, right?
Yep.
Get some earphones, whether, plug in, get a little mic that plugs into your phone, and start podcasting.
Yep.
If you
Just
want
do
to
it.
go and get a video camera, go ahead, but do name brands. Stick with the Canons, stick with the Sonys in your budget, because when you go to upgrade, you can sell those babies online so quickly. All of the influencers are using these brands. So I look, every single camera here is a Canon.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
we don't
amazing.
mess around here at Downtime Studios in Bridgeport, okay?
Come
All
on, Downtown
Canon.
TV.
Are these these are HD, and then
Yeah,
are
they're
they
all-
HD?
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, you guys. Like, you don't, just so you know, you do not need 4K. Like, you don't need it.
Well, people always feel like they need to have like whatever that whatever that is, and then they never get started either.
Then they never get started.
Yeah.
What is it? What is the point of waiting so long? You do not need 4K because it takes too much memory on your computer. It takes too long to upload. Most people aren't watching in 4K. Most of us are still, actually, the settings on our phones are still set to 1080. So don't go crazy, okay? Go very, very simple, and when you're starting out, don't spend a lot of money with equipment. But on the other side of that, if you've kind of been podcasting for a while from your cell phone, you're looking to step it up,
Here we go.
It's
This
time.
that part. Now we can talk about the money.
Here we are.
Here's the money.
You're looking at it, baby. You're looking at it. You have a couple of options. You can invest in the equipment yourself, which is exactly what I did, which was kind of stupid. I invested in a ton of equipment, and I'm the talent. I'm the talent. I don't want to mess with equipment. I don't want to learn about it, because when you buy it, you have to learn it. And
That's why I love coming here.
Set up, we sit down, we look pretty.
I love being here and being a part of your show, because I said, forget it. Because I was going to start something else, Create True Art with Sharon Tell. And then you presented me with this amazing idea to come along on your journey. And I love this better.
It's set up. You guys, I'll put it in the stories, a whole lighting, right? Look at all this light. Look at this glow. One of my earrings fell out. So, close up of that.
No one have ever known.
I know, but that's what happens. I heard it fall. Look, it's right there, but it's okay. It's still kind of like trendy, actually. People, the one earring thing is very trendy. But outside of that, when you have a production, what that does is create quality.
Yes.
When you can start pumping out quality over quantity, there's a space for quantity.
Absolutely.
But when you can start upping your game and you want to start taking it seriously, you absolutely have to start producing quality. And we have 4 cameras. So 4 different points of view. Sometimes there's 5 when Tony's here and he does kind of around the room. And that is production. Yes. That is style.
And who's going to be able to do that alone?
You can't, because you have to, Mike's there at the switchboard, doing all the buttons, posting all the comments, and it just takes it to the next level, I think. But this was my vision from the very beginning. And just the other day I had, the memories pop up on your cell phone. And it was when I very first started my podcast. And it was in my best friend's living room with a couple of mics, my computer, and a little bit of lighting, and this is the glow up. This is exactly the vision that you can have. But you sometimes you start in your living room.
I love it.
Sometimes you start in your living room.
Sometimes you start in your basement.
So let's quickly talk. We have a few minutes for the top of the hour, but let's talk about the elephant in the room, the money.
Oh, yes.
The monetization.
No, like, wow, finally we get to the money part.
Yeah, because if you don't love what you're doing, you ain't going to make the money.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
That's true. You got to love it.
Are you monetizing off of, so you started Choose Your Path in 2020, which was the downswing.
Yep. I know. but amazing time though to create something.
You thrive.
And I am definitely monetizing.
Oh, girl.
Yes.
Tell us.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like you can get paid from all of these social media sites as a creator.
And Instagram just launched what's it called? Badges?
I was one of the first. Yeah, like I was
I love it.
networking with the creator, and he was like, "Oh, how is it working for you?" Da, 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 da. And yeah, we were going back and forth, and I was like, "Hey, we need to add that." And then at first, it used to not come on if I was going live with someone else. I'm like, I hardly ever go live by myself, so that you need to add that when I'm also going live with someone else. So it was, it's been a dope process. So that, and then my merchandise. You're able to, leverage.
Absolutely. And so when you can leverage that, and when you can, and that's what I talk about, like certain platforms, like you have leveraged Instagram to the max. Instagram is a love-hate relationship because there are so many, for a content creator, there are so many ways to create content, and it all downloads, and they give you so many opportunities, and opening the doors to actually be able to accept donations is so huge for a creator.
Isn't that so cool? Like even now, Clubhouse, you can get paid as a creator. You can get
paid, yeah. And so there are badges, so you can make money from your audience. You can have sponsorships. We have a sponsorship here.
Yes, we
on
do.
This show, 10K cards.
Shout out to 10K cards.
The modern day business card,
digital business card.
The future. But when you do that, it's just like you're getting it out there. People are going to start recognizing that. That's true. This show represents a product that could help them, and one day you're going to tap in, get your own card, and that's how we make money. That's how you can monetize off of affiliate marketing, you guys. It's not hard.
Yeah, affiliate marketing. No, I do that. I do that now for like a few companies. Literally, like if I were
she's a walking marketing tool.
So if you like these, right, I'll give you my code and you take a percentage off. Or like the jeans too, like those are for sale. Everything usually is for sale.
100%.
Yeah.
Y'all, I'm about to launch my Poshmark page.
I can't wait.
You know what I mean? Where you can get all these fly fits and anything. Ads, paid guests. If somebody, once my channel gets to a very high level, then people are going to want to pay to be on the show.
That's true. True.
Do you know that business model
you gotta
exists?
Trust the process though to get to that point, right?
That's it. Just trust the process.
That's important.
And then obviously merch.
Oh, the merch is everything. You know how many times, I can't even tell you how many times my merchandise over this pandemic literally sold out. Yeah. True story. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, guys. It's out. Wait till it comes back. And then I go back on and just share it, and then it just go. That's the beautiful thing about just trusting the process and letting your audience grow. Because I didn't have that many followers. Oh, not on Instagram anyway.
You got to get creative.
Yeah. I have a huge audience on Twitter. I love Twitter. You have
a huge audience on Twitter? You have a huge audience on Instagram. How much do you have on Twitter?
I think it's depending on the other account, over 20-something thousand.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I have so much catching up to do.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But you know what I love about the 20,000 is people, they actually support. You understand what I'm saying? Because you can have like 100,000 people and only like 1,000 out of that 100. Yeah.
Twitter's the best for honestly. With you won't know these people. I have the same experience with it. I've gotten so much support from Twitter than any other platform.
They come onto my Instagram live. Because we're like, how do you get so many people? Because do you ever see people only have like 10 or 14 people now since the algorithm changed?
Yes.
Yeah, but
the algorithms.
My peoples, they show up. Shout out to my peoples.
Shout out. I'm one of her peoples. P.S.
I'm one of your peoples.
I show up. I do. So guys, there's a million ways to monetize. There's literally so many ways to monetize and grow your community.
It is.
And
have fun with it.
You just have to get super creative. Start collaborating with local businesses. Candles, restaurants, coffee. Team up with a coffee company.
Can you
drink
think
your
of
coffee, say, you know, this is where I got my coffee, do a discount code, and then,
Yes.
you know, that's how it's tracked. That's how it
Yes.
happens.
Can you think of sponsorships as relationships, though, people? I find that a lot of times people are like, I want sponsors, because they're thinking about like some monetary gain instead of thinking of the sponsor as someone that you really want to have a relationship over time. So think of it that way. Like, yeah, share it without even before the relationship even starts. Start talking about them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I was saying this, I forget who I was saying this to, like a networking group, but
Give back.
Give back and manifest, meaning a lot of people, like if you're starting out, and what I'm starting to do is with my content, I want to show other brands that I can create content for their products and services. So if I'm wearing a bracelet or a watch, I'm going to create content for that. Even though I don't have a jewelry sponsor, I'm going to create content so that when it's time to have a jewelry sponsor, they can go and see what the type of content that I create for things like that. And they say, oh, I can picture myself with this woman, with this influencer. And it is about the relationships, you know, 10K Cards he's my mentor. Like we talk on the phone all the time. And so it's so important to have a relationship. And when you have that relationship, then they stick with you.
It's a relationship. They grow with you. And then as you continue to grow and they're growing with you along the journey, then the sky is the limit. I don't even think the sky is the limit. It's just unlimited opportunity.
Sky is the limit. And, you know, that's the beauty of podcasting. And, you know, I know this was a loaded topic because there's still so much more that we can like get into and cover. But what I want to know from you guys is, you know, what more do you want to know about podcasts? Like, what do you want to dig deep in about podcasting? Because even writing the script, it can take me a full day to write an episode. And it changes from if you have one guest versus 2 versus 3 guests. So everything takes you have to take everything into consideration. So, you know, comment below, DM me, let me know what is it that you're struggling with so we can address it as we move forward, because podcasting is one of our favorite things. It's so much fun. It's so easy. You know, you get audio content, you get video content. If you're smart about it, you can cut it up into macro and micro. It just really is such a great avenue to release on. And I'm super excited to, you know, to have this space to help you guys and to put other influencers in the on the stage.
Yes.
Like my girl here.
Right here.
You already know.
Downtime TV.
You already know, here in Bridgeport, Connecticut. So Sharontel, as we close out, what's the one piece of advice that you would give to anybody starting a podcast?
To start it. Because people have all these ideas. Do you have people come to you? They'll come to you with so many ideas of what they want to do. And I just find that 90% of those people, they never started. Just started. Like even the books, when people are like, oh, what do you think? Like I should, and they spend so much time thinking about the title that they never get started. So I would just like, start it.
Just get started. 100%. It took me way too long to get here. But that being said, I actually still got started because I went live on Facebook and was trying out different things, you know, and I had to experiment. And after the experimentation, it all came together into what this is now. So I took everything that I was testing out and turned it into my own unique show. But just do it.
Just do it.
There's nothing to be afraid of anymore.
Yeah, not at all.
I would say the same thing, but I would also say that it definitely takes a lot more work than you guys think. A lot of people do it on the fly, which is fine. But if you want an engaging show, like you have to put a lot of work into it. You have to put some thought into it. You have to do the research and provide value. If you're providing value, sometimes it's not off the dome, you know, and if you're a comedian who's 10 years in the game, you know, you still might be able to to do it off the rip. But if you know a good story about one of your guests, like you can turn that into something so magical just by doing
writing
the
a
research.
book out of my guests. Every single one of my guests. By the end of December, I'm putting out a book to tell my experience of these conversations. But I also agree too that a lot of times people don't start because of it takes all of this.
All the work.
Yeah, they don't want to put in the work. So yeah, that's important to tell that too, because sometimes we can make things look so easy. I do things off the dome, but there is a strategy and a team behind it to make it happen. So
absolutely. And you guys already know we're going to be, hosting podcast seminars, how to podcast, what equipment to use, in person, because now that things are opening up, it's really important for us to reconnect again. That's what it's all about. And really excited for you guys to tap in again next week with us. Thank you to everybody who joined in on the conversation today. Check back in with us next Friday, and we are out. Thanks so much for tapping into the Be Influential podcast, where we dare you to be different. I'm your host, Angie Legg, and you can catch me and my co-host, Sharontel Durskell, every Friday live at 11 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Clubhouse. And a big shout out to my sponsor, 10K Cards, the modern business card. Scan the QR code and get yours today.